Welcome to episode 2 of the Infamy Esports podcast. We're the Infamy team, creators of Infamy Fantasy Esports, and you should know our name by now. So, we're going to be doing what we always do talk about video games, but this time on camera. So, today we're talking about coronavirus and how it's infecting esports, and how it's not infecting esports as well.
Oh god, it is infecting esports.
Uh, I
Well,
I just
Yeah.
it's obviously going to affect
I mean,
live viewership.
yeah,
it has already.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on now. Like, all right, like this is my main thing. Do you think they're gonna have a ridiculous response like every other like major sports outlet? Like they're fucking canceling everything because the players don't want to get sick. Do you think they have enough
yeah.
rights?
I
Well,
mean,
most of them have already. They've kind of implemented their plans of like, all right, no more live events. Like this was like the year of like a lot of companies going for the live events,
mhm,
like full force, and then they're like, all right, none of that. We're just going back to not even land,
mhm,
just online events because travel.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's where all the events were originally taking place over over the internet. So, is it that big of a deal? Mm,
I mean,
Just like for
for like
integrity, like
yeah, for like
like
leagues like
lag.
Overwatch League that like found themselves on the production and the spectacle of watching esports live, they're obviously going to take a hit. Can they even do they have a plan to adapt to
They just announced their schedule for next week, and they're just like kind of pairing them where it's like where latency is going to be the least problem, kind of, but at the same time they have Korea versus San Francisco next week, so that might be an
oh,
issue.
yeah, there's going to be high ping, very high ping. But
It's
like
every
that's
esport athlete's dream. Something high ping to blame.
high, yeah, you can blame the ping. Are they gonna like do they have I wonder if they have like precautionary things to take into effect because like we're joking about it, but like that it can like literally be a difference when I like play Overwatch with Jake and he's on West Coast, I'm on East Coast. I'm like in games with like 110 ping and it's like very noticeable the difference. So like it
hmm
actually does affect gameplay and like you hitting shots. So
yeah.
that literally can change the
I
game.
don't know. You don't think that they're gonna have dedicated servers and like 5G implementation on these things? Like just like to think about how much money they're saving on not doing these events. Like you don't think
Yeah,
that they
but
could work out some network
this
connection?
was like a last minute thing. This wasn't like they didn't have
They've had
time to
2 weeks to do it.
Yeah,
yeah
throw something together.
yeah. I
China's
mean,
right there. They got all the 5G. Just ask Huawei.
Uh,
but like
yeah,
when
in
you're
theory, it should
playing,
be the best quality possible. Like,
hmm
but
yeah,
they have no excuse for it not to be.
I just think that internet is like limited. You can only like there's no instantaneous transfer of data, so there's always going to be a delay. They can reduce it a little bit, but that's going to be something that they're going to have to look out for the
All right.
players.
Like, all
Yeah,
right.
but
So,
what's
like,
the alternative?
There is
yeah,
none.
really. That's
I
what I'm
mean, like
saying. I'm
people
like, there
like
are ways of like reducing it. Like, you're never gonna get 100%, like you're saying. Like, there's never gonna be no
Yeah,
latency,
yeah.
but you can reduce it. You don't. You shouldn't be running your tournaments on 110 ping. Like, there's no excuse for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good for
and the
anyone.
Especially
worst part is they can't.
when
Mhm.
they could do it for cheaper than what their prize pools they're giving out. Like, I don't know. I don't know. That's not a good excuse.
Yeah, and like a big company like Blizzard, they should have those kinds of servers
Yeah,
in
if it wasn't this specific crisis, though, it's just like most of the teams or a lot of the teams are in
Mhm,
Asia, and they can't. Like, ideally, they'd be able to at least bring them like to the same country, but that's not an
mhm,
option. So they're just like, and these teams haven't played for the whole first like month of the season, so they're like, all
hmm
right, we gotta do something.
mhm.
Yeah, travel bans. Oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're people are still traveling though. So
But like even it's not even just the Asian teams anymore. Now it's like the European teams too. They closed out everybody. So now what? They literally can't run these tournaments even if they wanted to.
yeah, but that's like just Overwatch. There's a whole bunch of other
It's not
esports
just
and
Overwatch. It's anybody that wanted to do live tournaments in the states. There's a travel ban now. They literally can't bring these people into the United States. So you can't run any of these tournaments, even if it wasn't like a company policy where they were like, okay, I don't want to have these tournaments, like the NBA shutting down their shit,
mhm.
right? Like this, like now you cannot even import these players. you have to play online.
Hmm.
So they don't have any other choice. And like, who knows how long this is gonna last, either.
I mean, but like I was watching someone stream and they were talking about it. At first, they were talking about their sub count, and I believe it was 72 hours. He was talking about his sub count and how coronavirus is gonna affect people because they're not gonna be going to work. And he said viewership's gonna be up, but people
Subs.
subscribing is gonna
Uh,
be down because people aren't able to work, which
they
is
don't have that.
another factor
Yeah, the income's
in the
definitely gonna
industry.
take a
Yeah.
hit. So I didn't think about
Yeah,
that part of it.
yeah,
I don't know, man. That's a negligible amount of money, like a sub. Like, yeah, okay, they're not gonna be throwing hundreds of dollars at their boys like on the live streams. Like
yeah.
your tips are gonna go down, but like viewership is gonna go up, and it's only good for these companies to, especially like
Yeah.
maybe not even especially Fortnite, but these companies that give a quality product, like that's how you're going to maintain your viewership, especially when you have such a large captive audience. Half the planet is quarantined right now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
plus ad revenue for those higher streams, but higher viewer counts. But what do you guys think about like with like the gap that's regular sports all being canceled like leaves open? Do you think there's a shot esports like slides a little more into
Yeah,
the
that
mainstream
dude,
as
Mm,
the only option?
100%, dude. I was at the
Yeah,
bar on Friday. I was at the bar on Friday, and they were fucking playing Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley was on the court. They're playing reruns. They have no content.
Oh,
They have no
yeah.
it's
content at
gonna
all.
take the
They're
people
But
in
it's
charge of
gonna.
the media outlets to like push that outside of maybe some bars will like put it on if like the owner or
Yeah,
whoever's bartending. But other
bars.
than that, it's gonna take like an actual person who's interested in it and has in a position
ver-
to like push that.
another thing is a lot of these esports events aren't on traditional television channels. So
It's
like you
not.
have.
It's not even that. That's not what I'm talking about. These people that are traditional sports fans have
Mhm.
no content to consume. They literally are doing reruns and documentaries.
Yeah,
That's
no,
all
I get
ESPN is playing right now.
I
So
get what
like,
you're
okay,
saying.
most of these people, their viewership is going to drop off.
Hmm.
So where are they going to go?
Yeah, that's like it's up to ESPN to pick up esports. Like if you go to a bar right now and you're like, hey, can you
If
put
these
on
people
like.
were if these people were smart, they'd be like, "Yo, we got content for you.
But then it goes
You could
how is it gonna
you can
transfer
push
to your
them.
actual audience? You know, like
It
if your
might not
audience
go
are
well, but
traditional
this is a
sports
perfect
fans
opportunity
to
to
try it. Yeah, it
to
is. This
push
is the.
yourself into the mainstream right now because they're in a hard spot right now. They have no content. Like they're putting up like literally you you can see like they're wearing ball hugger shorts on the court. Like this is like they have nothing. So like all right, you're going to give them some fresh content that like maybe people are also bored. They're going to be more open to
Well,
giving that a try.
But like again, esports is one of those things. We touched on this a little bit last week. You can't just like put it on ESPN and then you know how it works. You have to have like an understanding. Like League of Legends, prime example. That game is confusing as all hell, and you just put that on ESPN. No one's gonna know
well, you
what's
could
going on.
start
There
with
has to
easier
be like.
ones, like say, throw some Rocket League up
Hmm.
there, Street Fighter, like
Yeah.
how they were using those for the Olympics, if it
Yeah.
even still happens. But they're just
Yeah,
super easy for anyone to plug in and watch.
Hmm.
exactly. And you know what it is too? It comes down to the announcers as well. Like you have now, like too, it's not like you don't have this live production cost. So you have announcers that are like explaining what's going on, and that's where it becomes
Hmm.
the burden is on them. You have to
Yeah.
be able
So
But at
like,
the
to
same
so
time,
relay this
if you're
content.
if you're ESPN, what do? Do you make the shift to esports? Because now you have to, like you said, you have to get a whole production team. You have to get
I
someone who
mean,
now we're
understands the
they
content.
ESPN.
do have an esports like division with like.
They
Yeah, but
have that,
but now
yeah.
you have to like make sure that's on point and capturing everything
But
because
but
that's
at the
now
same
your.
time, this is the worst time to like esports is also going to be at a quality low because you don't know
Yeah,
what problems they're going to be running into having to run everything online
yeah,
and like
Hmm.
even the stuff we were talking about before. So it might even be better to play like esport reruns of like
yeah.
just to like gauge the
Just to
Yeah.
audience a
yeah to
little. But
see.
Yeah,
but then you're missing out on the people who are watching it live normally that
yeah, but the
like
people
they're
watching it
watching it
live,
on
how
Twitch.
many of them are gonna transfer over to watching it on ESPN
That
instead?
Yeah,
yeah,
and give up their
that's a
precious Twitch chat.
Yeah, that's not gonna
yeah
happen.
yeah. That's like again that's like the whole aspect. So like people from Twitch. Mixer, YouTube are not
I
gonna.
mean,
They like.
Overwatch League did it for the finals, like the stage finals and probably the
Mhm. Yeah,
finals.
I saw. I was in the barbershop and I saw they were playing it on ESPN, and that was cool. But like, you miss out. I feel like a large part of the online viewing experience is the chat, which is one of the reasons why I think esports isn't gonna be as
I don't know how
attractive
I
on
feel
the
about the
Twitch.
chat, bro.
I don't know
I'm
about
sorry.
that for
It's just
anyone over 24.
Oh
It's
yeah,
Yeah.
just
no,
memes flying
I
past at 1,000 miles a minute. It's
no,
like
no, I
unintelligible
100%, I
nonsense.
100% agree with you. But I'm talking about for the people who are like dedicated and like die hard. They're in it for the chat. When Overwatch League moved to YouTube, a lot of people on Twitch were saying how fuck Overwatch League and they're gonna die without the chat. And it is a large part of the experience
No,
The
I
emoting.
chat, there's
agree.
just no
I think there
emotes,
are
and
people.
they're gonna add something of their own. I'm sure
Yeah.
YouTube Gaming is cooking up something.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're not
I
a.
think the
But like,
bigger loss is the rewards for watching.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a big one.
but yeah, like we
Some
just
people
listed
just
like
leave their
three
computer on.
things that are just limited factor company like ESPN to even get into esports. You're not gonna pull people from, or not gonna pull a large enough amount of people from Twitch. Your production value is not prepared because no one saw this coming. And do you just jump ship on your traditional audience? Like these are like three big things that will
You're
have a
talking about
severe
like
impact.
you're talking about putting esports on ESPN. Is that what we're
Yeah,
talking about
On
right
like
just
now?
the
yeah,
main
yeah,
the
Okay.
just
main
You no no no.
channel.
You take your budget for your live events and you
mhm,
pay ESPN that. You pay as an esports platform. Be like, yo, I want you to
ESPN
put
to
this
put in.
content right now because you really have nothing. So you're gonna get it at the cheap, way cheaper than what you paid to put your main event on their channel. That way you can get into some new eyes. You get some fresh blood in. You be like, oh, what was this? Oh, that was pretty interesting. You
Mhm.
put like maybe like Steve's saying, you put some reruns or something that was like high octane, whatever the best content that you have. You pay to put that
Mhm.
on that platform, and you get some new eyes.
Yeah,
Because
but
like
the problem
ESPN's
with
hurting for
that
content right
the
now.
problem whole thing with that is the brand of ESPN. Um they Arda has like a weekly kind of like stream on the ESPN Esports Twitch channel, and where it's just like him just streaming League of Legends or whatever game he's playing, and then on Wednesdays they do like their weekly like kind of news roundup, and like a lot of like
Mm-hmm.
people come in and be like, oh, like how much did so and so pay you to do this or blah blah blah. So it's just like a stigmatism towards ESPN in esports a little bit. I feel from the at least from the Twitch community
From the
because
hardcore community, yes,
yeah
because they're not. But
Who are
no, what
already
we're talking
locked
about.
up.
yeah
Yeah,
What are you
they're
gonna?
already.
They're not
We
gonna
already
leave
got to
though. They
realize
just like
that
to
we are all
complain.
locked into this. We're talking about getting people that are outside the audience. Like the only reason to even go into ESPN is to get some new eyes on your platform, especially when they're a captive audience now
Okay,
because they're stuck inside.
but you're gonna need
another.
people to like help ferry those people to understand what the hell they're watching.
Yes, and if these large monolithic corporations were intelligent, they would be spending the money now
All
to
right,
get that content together.
but another point which I noticed last week. Two of my friends in a group chat messaged me about oh they're like, oh, we can't gamble now because the NBA is NBA, no sports are being played. So how many of the people that watch ESPN religiously are just in it for sports betting and sports
That
fantasy and stuff like
could be
that?
the ferry that they need because it's just like
Yeah,
it's an
There you
incentive to
go.
yeah,
learn the game and be like have
yeah,
some knowledge to bet.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
we
that's what
they
I'm saying. That's
yeah,
what I'm saying.
well,
You gotta put the odds on the side of the screen, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, what are those?
oh, what are
Oh, what are
those?
those odds on the side of the screen?" Like you have to have content. Like, all right, I mean, I'm not saying that they're gonna come out and kill it right off the bat, but it's about getting people interested in the content, right? So like that's
Mhm.
one way. I would say that it's a larger group than most people think that
Hmm.
just watch sports just to gamble on it.
It'll take like one or two notable people to be like, oh man, I put like 2K down on this league game and I came away with like 20K. It's gonna take a
Yeah.
There's
So
a lot of big
from
names invested in esports though,
Yeah,
like
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 Mark,
even
Minecraft
just
Mark
leagues, like
traditional
Shaq
sports.
and
Marty V with the
Yeah,
Minnesota Rocker. Yeah,
no, I agree with you 100%, Blake, but it's just that as a company, do you put all that money and effort into trying to make that work. Me personally,
Yeah.
I think, well, from what I know of the industry, yes, it's 100% worth it because now you have maybe an ESPN esports channel, but them look from the outside looking in, they're trying to savor their core audience and cater to them, and they like when from my
With
experience of working
Charles
with,
Barkley
yeah,
golf
from
on your
my
short.
but you have to think about like sports viewership has been declining in the past years, and the only people who really watch sports aren't the younger generations; it's older people. And watching Charles Barkley games might be reminiscent for them, and that ball hugger shorts
Yeah, I
like
get
might
why
be
they're
popping
on.
off.
I'm
Yeah,
just saying, like, okay, for
I
the
remember
growth
when
of
I could
their
let my balls suffocate.
I remember when my dick was falling out of my shorts. Like, what do you mean?
Just
What do you
dick
mean?
slapping on the dunk, you know.
Look, and just because it's not
Whoop.
content for me, like, and that's
yeah.
fine. Like, it's fine. Like, and I'm sure there are some people that are enjoying it, but at the same time, you can't tell me that getting at least a mix of content that's some new, you're gonna have. How many weeks are you gonna have
Yeah,
now
especially
of
I was just gonna
running?
say how long it's gonna take. Like you
Yeah.
can't keep
Yeah, like
doing
you're
that
gonna
forever.
run
You
out of
gotta try.
fucking documentaries at some
Yeah.
point. So
Mhm.
when are you gonna get some
I mean, you
fresh
won't,
content in?
but
Especially,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, you won't. Yeah,
but
realistically,
people
you
will get
won't.
tired of it. Like
Mhm.
But like, how long? How are we gonna have a week of hockey documentaries? Like at the end of it, like what's gonna happen here? You know, like it's gonna. As a
I
network,
don't know.
they need some fresh content, and I think esports can fill that niche, and it would be a nice bridge for
Mhm.
esports to get into the mainstream. And
I
if these
Yeah,
Yeah.
companies were smart, if these
that
companies were
bridge is hard
smart,
to
they
build
would.
though. The like
They've
understanding
been
gap is kind of
already
hard to fill.
they're already
Like
starting. It's not like it's like brand new,
I
like
know,
Jake
but some
was.
games are complicated, you know. Like last year, Overwatch League was on like Disney XD and like ESPN, like pretty frequently, like at least like once a week or so.
Mhm.
And they started incorporating more like this is how this game mode works. It's just
yeah.
like a 30-second video of like a rundown of each game type, and like
Yeah.
and the casters were a lot more in, like deeper explaining. And but then you alienate the audience who's like, I don't want to have to like
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not.
that's
explain what
I
every
was
little
just
bit
gonna say
does.
that
So.
when I saw it in the barber shop, they were like doing the what is it, King of the Hill.
Oh, just
They
to
were
break
doing
down
the
how it
rundown,
works.
yeah,
Yeah.
the breakdown on how it works, and I was like, I mean, I get why they were doing it for people who have no experience, but like me as a person who plays Overwatch and understands the game, it's like I don't need to be like baby explained how
Okay,
the game
but
works
really
every
quick, are you
2 seconds.
gonna watch
So
that
like,
on Twitch or are you gonna watch it
yeah,
on
exactly. That's
ESPN?
exactly what I was gonna
Mhm.
say. Like,
Same,
so I would
same.
watch it on Twitch instead
So
of
do you
where
think
they
the
don't
play
do
would
that.
to have like two separate broadcasts, one for more of the general
I think they did
audience, and
actually. I think they started
Mhm.
doing that because they
Of
would accidentally
course.
like cut them wrong and be like cut to another group of casters casting the same game, and
well,
it's like what?
well, that
But
might be
I
like a
think it's just
different
a
language
framework.
though.
Mhm.
No, no, it's the same. Like the caster duos, who's it's just like a different pair.
Oh,
Like I
really?
was like, they're not
Yeah,
casting right now, but
yeah.
so I guess they're broadcasting specifically, which might be the solution to like to not alienate the people who know
Yeah,
everything
that's
and
what
then to
Hmm.
educate.
And
exactly
then
what I was saying before. You need high quality casters that can explain it to an audience that really doesn't know what's going on. And honestly, too, those will get you'll get now. You can get nobody for it. They just need to be good at it, and they will become stars in their own right on those platforms. Like you can get people. You can do this productionally cheap right now. ESPN's hurting for content. You can get basically nobodies that are just good at explaining it to audiences that have no
Well, the
prior
best people are
experience
going to be
with
the
these games.
casters, and they were
Hmm.
pretty good. It was just it got annoying for me to be like, and
yeah,
I'm not
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure
of
if
course, and
I
it's
couldn't
not
tell you how
for you, you
successful it
know.
was, but
Yeah, and
it
my whole
seemed like
point
they were
is,
doing as good as they could have.
yeah, and it would be interesting to see the numbers on those because it's like how many, like it comes down to how many new people do you draw into your community from that. That's
yeah.
the whole play to even do it on
But
ESPN in the first place.
all right, me playing devil's advocate when I was in the barbershop last year watching the Watch World Cup. Um, Someone made a comment saying how esports isn't an actual sport and how why is this on
Who
ESPN? These
gives
are
a
just
shit?
people.
They have the hot
But
dog eating
but
contest on
no,
ESPN. They have poker on ESPN.
I 100% agree. But from a diehard sports fan advocate, and we know that the
Hmm.
average person who's watching sports is of an older age group. These people don't see esports as an actual viable sport or an alternative to
I
competitive
think they don't
sports.
want to. It's not entertaining to them, so they're not going to bother to go through all the hoops to
Yeah,
understand what's happening.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. But when that's like, I would say, what, 70% of your audience as ESPN, you have to make decisions based on that too. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you can't alienate
it's
that
only
audience.
worth a certain amount of money, and I think that that's why you don't see a large push in ESPN up until like now. I think is an opportune time to do it
Yes, this
because
is literally the perfect
because
time.
there's the space is going to be cheap. That's all I was saying before. I was like, look, it's a great time to test it and see how many people you can pull. Because honestly, we all assume that just like these people come from an outside, they're like, oh, esports aren't a sport, right? But like, I mean, if they actually took the time to invest in it, they would probably see some value in it. Just because, like, I didn't play that when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Like who cares? Like,
yeah,
you don't see it as a sport because
you're
you,
moving your thumbs. That ain't
yeah,
acting.
Yeah. Well, it's also
yeah,
gonna
you know.
take the casters and the production to not only just explain the game, but also develop and push stories and narratives along with it that what
Yeah,
attract
and
outside the
then
core audience.
you
Well, I
have the
mean,
gamer
that's just a
audience.
problem with esports in general,
Yeah,
though. I feel like Overwatch, especially, kind of
yeah.
concerns me
What with
with their
narratives?
Hmm.
narratives and like you look at like at least from a U.S. perspective, right? Majority of them are what Korean and Chinese are the best players in the world right now. It's
Korean.
kind
For
of
them,
hard to like care about it when you can't understand or like they don't
That's
translate what these kids are saying.
They leave it more to the teams to make like individual content. Like the New York boys, they like put them on camera and make YouTube videos all the time, and they're learning
mhm.
English and stuff. But they have like personalities. It's more the ones who are just like all the only exposure you get is like them awkwardly interviewing at the end of the game, and that's
Yeah.
about as useful as a regular sports end game interview where it's like, we did our best and we
oh,
We did our
we
Yeah,
best.
oh
practiced
my
real
god.
hard.
We tried to win.
Just
We
amped up
tried
the
to win
shit
and
and
we
they don't even
won.
know what they're saying.
mhm.
They don't even know what they're
Well, then
saying.
the translators sometimes will like spice it up some. They're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
so you're saying they were shit, huh?"
Yeah, that's what I'm
The
saying
guy's
though. That's what
like,
I'm saying. I'm like,
"Did I say
all
that?"
you got to do is
Oh.
throw in some production so that they can talk. Like the kids that have a personality will grow their audience, and the kids that don't, like they're gonna have to rely on solely skill, and that's it. And they'll probably the best ones will stay, and the kids that aren't as good will fall to the wayside. But the kids with personality will stay, and that's what like Overwatch League needs in general, and like what I
Yes.
think a lot of it why it doesn't translate to ESPN, like what we were saying before. You
Mhm.
need
You need
you need those
Well, I don't think
stories. You
that's the
need.
breaker
you
though.
need
Like, I
villains,
think
Yeah.
but these kids
I
don't
don't
want
know,
to be like
man.
the
If
first
they
Not
one.
not
do they
even
put
villains, just like
WWE on ESPN?
I
Do we
don't
know
think so.
that?
No, I
Do
don't
we
think
know
so.
that?
No.
Okay, because
that's
like
on its
if
own.
yeah, okay, because like if they do, then like anything could be on ESPN.
I know.
Hey, we're trying to say about WWE.
For
Yeah,
WWE. That a
Yeah.
script
like alienating
sells.
our fan base.
That a script sells. That has nothing
Yeah,
bad to
well,
say
for the
about the
for the
WWE.
stories, like Overwatch League pushes a lot with like trades, where it's like, okay, this guy was on this team before, so he really wants to beat
Mhm.
this team, and then like after if they win, they're like talk that shit, King, and they're like, oh,
Those are the
shouldn't have
stories.
traded me. Meh, meh."
You shouldn't.
Yeah,
And
if
they're
you
like,
get signed.
oh,
That goes into a whole different thing on the viewer experience and how to make things like the Overwatch League more palatable to
it
outsiders, because
does.
I think that's one of like their biggest problems is having new people come in because these people don't have personalities. Not that they don't have personalities, they can't really express their personalities when they can't even speak English. So
Yeah.
That's kind of what my point
yeah,
was, and I
yeah,
think that this is the time now
Hmm.
for them to start working out these kinks while
yes.
they're really not like everybody's down. So like let's work
Honestly,
out the kinks
I
on the
mean,
production.
even if they don't want to do it on their traditional or their traditional ESPN platform, they have enough money. They can do ESPN esports or open something so that
Hmm.
way they're not alienating their main audience, and they can
Well,
attract new people.
they do a lot of ESPN esports like online on like Twitter and YouTube and Twitch and stuff because that's where that audience is anyway, and it doesn't do super well. Like
Yeah.
like it's well
Because
put together, but it doesn't get a lot of views to be honest.
yeah, and I feel like that's lent to the community. The gamer community is very withdrawn and not
They want
open
everything to
to
be
outs.
independent.
There's
Yeah.
definitely
Are
the
you
gatekeepers.
saying that they're? Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Saying
Yeah,
that the esports community has gatekeepers?
yeah, they're
Wh-
gatekeeping themselves from the world.
What an
What-
outrageous
Yeah, they
idea.
Shocking.
This is
Hot
shocking.
takes. Hot
What's
takes.
the Drake line? I'm not hiding esports from the world. I'm hiding the world from esports. Something like that.
I don't know which way that should go.
I don't know. I think I may have used, it, but it applies.
I mean,
Definitely.
I think Overwatch League needs more chipses. That's all. That's the main thing. Out of all the trades and signings, that was the one that got the most
Dude, if he gets played
hype.
once and he gets his ass beat, he loses all credibility to tweet that shit. So
It
they're
doesn't
never
matter.
gonna
He'll
play
still
him.
do it. That's the best part.
I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah, but like
He'll
narratives like that.
still do it. Oh,
Dude, every
make him
game,
stop.
he's not. He's just like
he'll come
tweeting
up with
from the
5
bench, talking
excuses and
shit.
be like,
Yeah, he'll be like the latency.
Yeah. Oh.
yo, my
Yeah,
boy, my
latency.
boy
Now's the
knows
time.
that his community is behind him. My boy's
Yeah.
community is behind him. He doesn't give a fuck.
He really doesn't.
Yeah.
Have you seen
like,
what he
yo.
looks like? He doesn't care.
Whoa.
Grease.
Whoa, that's.
Whoa. We don't body shame on this.
We don't
We
body
I'm
don't
just
body
talking about general.
We
like,
hygiene shame.
hygiene.
We hygiene
It's
shame. We
hygiene.
need more of that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll listen.
Could you imagine if they kept E3 with Corona, the like weird disease that would have came out of E3
Oh,
from like all
God.
those people?
Or they like the super virus. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
World
It
enders.
also made you smelly. Oh god.
Ooh.
That'd be great.
You
Just
like-
like, bro, you smelling little Corona light.
Yeah, here, hit him with a lime.
Corona
Corona light. Hit him with a lime.
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 Which is secretly the cure to coronavirus. Lime.
You heard it here
Just
first.
started- your hot take.
That close.
Hot takes.
That vitamin C.
With
Vitamin C and D.
vitamin
Limes.
C, D. All you need is a lime. But going back to the virus, we like derailed from it a little bit. I think it's
little
definitely a lot. A lot. It's definitely gonna make a shift in all of these industries. But I think esports at first there's gonna be a negative hit on it with things like sub counts and money coming in, but
Mhm.
after a while viewership is gonna start going up, and it may even bring in a whole bunch of new people now that everyone's forced to be inside, you know.
Yeah, well, just to go
Brings
back
out
to
some new
the
things.
sports, like some of the athletes have been like I just read a thing, some NASCAR drivers or something were like held like were playing like I don't know some racing game against each other and they live streamed that and
Forza.
two soccer stars are FIFAing up against each other. It's like oh, so these guys kind of
Yeah,
see it as a
I think it's a great opportunity for these traditional sports outlets to transition into esports. It may be harsh at first, and the feedback may not be as positive as they're used to or
yeah.
welcoming. But
So I think like if this is prolonged, like the like just the like core thing behind sports of just like the competitive, like everyone wants to like see people compete, like they don't want to watch reruns over and over again. Like I think that's when esports will be able to find a way in of like, okay, give me some competition. I've been trapped in my house quarantined for weeks. I need
Yeah.
like something to watch, like to
Do you
fuel
think-
that animal drive.
Do you think when hopefully when it does eventually this whole thing blows over and the sports leagues come back, do you think maybe in between like periods or quarters or whatever they could like be streaming, they could have people in the arena like playing like whatever video game, maybe at an NBA game that you have NBA 2K pros for whatever respective team you're in, and have like casual people or people just attending the game be able to play against them and just help promote the NBA 2K team and just the platform.
Yeah, the halftime show is
Yeah.
just
The
like they roll
halftime
out
show-
a computer and
No,
they put
no,
it on the big
I
screen.
don't
No
think
one
so.
can hit
I
the
think
half
that they're
court
gonna
shot
want
anymore,
those,
break his ankle.
those girls in the short skirts and the titties on a court, man. You can't get rid of the titties. Come on now.
Well, that still happens in like every fucking timeout and foul, but
Yeah.
Imagine they bring you
but no,
down
I
to the
don't really think so.
No.
maybe
they
maybe
bring
it
you down
happens.
to the
I
court
mean-
and they're like, What do you want? The half court shot or the PC?
Yeah,
I mean, I
come
went
on
to
now,
like
yeah.
a
Or
hockey
like,
game out here in LA, and like in between periods or like in between like a stoppage of play, they had like a foosball table up on like one of on the sections, and they would just like have people come and play that, and they'd project that onto the
Yeah, I
jumbotron.
think more like
I don't know.
I don't.
Hockey's a
Yeah, that's
little
where I
different.
find it hard to believe on the jumbotron. But I feel like having like stations outside, like where they have like I don't know, like merch stands and stuff, just have like a
Like a
little side
2K
event
station.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
2K
like
station.
Hmm.
yeah, like I feel like hockey is also a little bit of a different thing just because they can't monetize it as well. Like basketball has it on point. Like what, like you could like there's literally a dunk contest or like whatever like or the half
Half
court
court.
shot
Hmm.
or whatever, or they got like 10,000 dance teams, like small children,
Yeah.
women, whatever,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, you
I
can
don't
have
have
know,
these
so
but
many.
people out on the ice. These people aren't coordinated. They'll
Yeah,
eat shit.
exactly. So that's why
And
I'm
then
like hockey specifically. It's like these people need now. Everybody needs ice skates.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and a
yeah, but when I'm
wafer.
at a basketball game, I'm like I'm there to see the game, like, and there's not that much downtime where I'm just like when I do have it, I'm like going to get another drink or I'm going to take a piss. Like I'm not going to like
Yeah.
I'm not looking for time
Yeah.
to fill, like
Mhm. I think that's more of an
it could.
LA kind of thing because I noticed like when I would go to games in like Boston or Providence, there'd be like, yeah, you go take a piss, you get food, you do whatever. But like for during a Kings game, there's something going on like nonstop. They're afraid to have any lull of
Cool.
energy. I was like,
I think esports need to do that more, where just
Hmm.
like have just a room of things to do. Like say like
Hmm.
when you go to like an Overwatch League game, it's like okay, I don't really care about these two teams playing. I'm gonna go check out
Yeah.
the side
mm,
thing up and over here. But it's literally just like there's such small venues. At least the Blizzard Arena was, where it's just like the huge room with everything happening, and then like a merch
all
area
right. So
and like hot
I
dogs.
think well, esports events they always need alcohol. I'm sorry, but like when we went to the season
Agreed.
one was Blizzard Arena, there was no alcohol. It's just like soda, water, like shitty snack foods, and like you're cramped like
Okay.
sardines. That was terrible.
So
But when we
look,
went to the
man.
LA homestand, that was a lot of fun because we got drunk and we had a good time.
Look. There's a problem. See, there's so much salt, and then you put alcohol in there. Kids are gonna die of dehydration. Okay. These kids are gonna start fights. Like they're
Dude,
No,
I
like.
would love to see it.
Yeah,
I'd love
I
to see
Yeah,
it.
love
I no one's gonna get hurt from
Come
the
on.
fights, but
No
they
one's
are
Yeah.
gonna.
I would be surprised if a punch got landed in that fight.
Look,
I
it's
think it's
just
more
I
so
wow.
can't,
for
I
the
can't
for
risk
the
hurting my wrist.
I think it's more so for the child, the children in the arena. They're
You're gonna
trying
do it for
to
the
Yeah, but
children.
I
there's
think it's
Yeah,
just
children's
like
at
the
sports
licensing
games.
and
How is it any
yeah.
having
different?
it a liquor
yeah. I
license and
don't
shit.
see.
They're like, why bother? People are still gonna come, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really depends on the laws, but like I mean, like LA, it's a little bit less like, and like that's like the hub, right? Like California is a lot less restrictive with the
Yeah.
liquor licenses than like say like where we're from, like New York, New Jersey. Fucking pain in the ass to get a liquor license. Like those places, they can get permissions, they just choose not to,
Well,
and it's
the
kind
one
of
we went to
weird to
was
see
hosted
that.
at a bar. Like hosted at like a
Yeah,
venue.
yeah,
So
Hmm.
there was
that
a
sounds
bar
right.
already there. So
Yeah,
it's
there's
really
like
choosing your place.
yeah.
People just need to capitalize on like bars, like you said, Steve, need to capitalize on this virus as fucked up as it sounds, and just like I know it may be a bit scary to take that dive and just be like, oh, I'm gonna put on esports, but honestly, like Blake was saying, you can't just play Charles Barkley reruns. Like you're gonna have to do something different, or you're just
Well,
gonna.
bars in LA play. I've seen it pretty frequently. Like they'll just
Mhm,
have like Tekken or Street Fighter on or something
mhm.
in the background, like because
Yeah,
no
that
one's
doesn't
really
happen here.
watching
That
sports,
doesn't happen on the East Coast,
Yeah,
but
but I
yeah,
mean,
they
like, but like
Mhm.
more to like your like what Jake was saying before, though. Like, they're gonna close these bars like right now.
they are.
Like the
Yeah.
yeah, there's
Hmm.
like
They're
okay,
already.
yeah, like as a business decision, great, but like currently, like it really doesn't help you out at
Yeah,
all.
short
And
term,
like I
yeah.
think that they, yeah, like so in the short term, what they should be doing is getting their production value on point. They got to get these casters to the point where like they can push ESPN. They can make it engaging for somebody that doesn't know shit about it. Like
yeah.
the biggest problem with esports is how inaccessible it is. Like that's why it's not growing anymore. Or like it's still growing, but it could be growing exponentially faster with like a
All right,
I
couple.
so
honestly,
I'll I want to switch gears, but what do you
I was
just a
gonna
little
say
bit?
that I think this virus is gonna exponentialize that growth with everyone being inside. Like China, they had
If they did,
some random mobile game had, I think it was like 200,000 downloads, and
Arena
it
of
wasn't
Valor.
even.
Well, mobile's
Yeah,
huge
yeah, mobile's huge, but that's just like an example. Now people
in
are
China.
inside.
Like,
They're gonna be playing games. So like games like Overwatch, Fortnite, Call of Duty,
League, yeah, all
definitely a
the
big
League of
in
opportunity.
Legends.
yeah
They're definitely
in-game
gonna be seeing
purchases.
in it. So like I think these companies need to get out that content for onboarding new users and make their games as user friendly.
yeah, and it needs to
While
be.
these
They need to
companies
make
like
it, yeah,
ESPN
accessible.
Mhm.
need to take this time to try and adjust and adapt to the new environment. And like, yeah, sports you can't play them, but there's still something you can do to captivate an audience. And I think they need to do it sooner than later, because the longer they wait, it's just going to seem like, well, it's been a month and you haven't had anything. So now you're just like, well, people like esports, I'm going to do that. And that's just, you're just going to crash and burn. You have to attack it quickly and not
It's a
seem like a
risk, though.
sellout. It is a risk, but what's your other options? You know.
Yeah, fucking
I don't know.
the
I think you
the
do need to wait to a certain level of boredom, though, to like people will be like,
yeah.
okay, I'll watch
Give it,
esports.
give
Yeah.
it a
Like,
month.
just
Hmm.
put
Yeah,
something new.
give it a month. Give it a
Yeah.
month. How many times do
Yeah,
you
I
have
think a
to
month's
watch
about.
the fucking
Yeah.
the Charles Barkley documentary
Yeah. I'm just
voiced
saying,
by
if
Ice
they wait
T?
until like, say this goes on for 6 months, month 5, they're like, oh, well, esports now. It's like, well, bro, like you're
I don't know. I feel like esports is used to getting like a shit deal. They'll be
bandwagon.
like, oh,
Hmm.
they'll take whatever they want. They can, like,
Yeah.
hey, we're on ESPN now. Nice. I don't think they'll hold the grudge. Be like, it took you 5 months to realize how amazing esports is. It's like it still might fail anyway. Like,
I'm just
Hmm.
talking from a perspective of people will just be attached to the platforms, or they're gonna find whatever they find in that time. You have to get people while they're still stirring.
I am interested to see what rise of like content happens in
Yeah.
quarantine times.
Oh yeah,
Keeping an
I
eye
think
on that.
Hmm.
as like twisted as it sounds, quarantine time might be the what's the word? The
Renaissance.
Raise
the renaissance of
Renaissance.
of the internet. Oh,
it,
no,
it
I
was
think it's gonna
2020 and we were
degrade.
all inside. we were
We're all indoor kids
we
now.
Oh,
were, we were all inside.
They always told us you should
Twitter
go
Twitter's gonna be
outside,
better
but
than
no
ever.
longer.
Dude, yeah, dude,
oh man.
the content, the
Dude,
memes,
it's
everything is gonna be out of control.
a turn of the page, really.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um,
You're in my house now, literally.
it'd be a great thing to do while you're stuck inside. Fantasy
Fantasy.
esports.
Yes, exactly. Which
We
is
will be hosting fantasy Fortnite tournaments for every week of the FNCS. So check that out. Infamy.gg.
yeah. Hop
Uh,
on, create your team,
plug.
enter for your chance to win. We offer 2,500 V Bucks. Eventually, plan to expand to cash prize pools. So sign up.
Money.
Yeah.
And
I
other
mean, yeah,
games.
yeah. Who doesn't like, while you're inside? Take the chance to win V Bucks. Eventually, win money. Be the best.
Yeah, you don't want to be looking in shabby skins while you're stuck inside.
Yeah,
Everyone's
you
everyone's
gotta.
skin game
It's
gonna be way up.
yeah, dude. It might be Corona season, but that doesn't mean drip season, boys. Come on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
While we're shilling, you should
While we're
also shill the
chilling.
Discord.
Show this. Oh yeah,
Oh god.
shameless plug.
oh,
Join our
and
Discord also, and
yeah, we'll shill our Discord as well.
Yeah, because we're gonna be bored.
Anyway,
We're gonna
so
be bored running up.
yeah, but you're talking about spectators, and I wanted to talk to you guys about this as well. Like, how do you guys feel? I mean, not spectators, casters. Like, what do you guys feel about like casting in general? And like, I thought it was really cool with like like FNCS and stuff like that, where you just follow the player you want on their Twitch channel and like actually just hear their comms.
Hmm.
And then you have
yeah.
like Overwatch League, who will just like kind of selectively show you like, here's a clip of the comms, and that's usually pretty like tame.
I was
Hmm.
actually thinking about that the other day, because I think Fortnite, that's one of the things that the Fortnite community does really well. And it's not even like the Fortnite development team, it's literally the community. Whenever there's a tournament going on, there'll be the players streaming, like Steve said.
Hmm.
There'll be viewing parties. So pro players who aren't at that event or didn't qualify for the event will will host a viewing party and just explain what's going on and give their intake. And after watching those viewing parties, I personally think that casters should be pro players because they have the insight and the level of knowledge to explain what's happening on a the on the most basic of levels.
They have the play by plays. They can actually
Yeah, they
explain
had yeah,
what's
I
they
don't
going
can
know if
on.
that's the.
well, I
Do
mean,
they, can they though? I feel like they usually might get a little caught in the weeds
Mhm.
as they like. You have to be
Yeah,
smart about it. Like if
you
you
have to
try to
have
like think
somebody
that
that
everyone
has a
has your level
presence.
understanding.
yeah, well,
they need to be able to bridge the gap is the thing.
yeah,
And like
that's the
I
one
think
thing
they
I've
would be
noticed
better
from
as
watching.
the color, like kind of giving in like the insight in between like
Yeah.
bursts of play. I think that would be their better spot.
they
Well,
have to be able to
this
do
might
both.
be the Fortnite community, and I don't know, like the Overwatch community has a lot of Korean pro players, and they can't even speak English, so it obviously wouldn't do well there. But the Fortnite community, their pro players are able to articulate what's happening and explain to the audience in a very simple way, and that's what gave me that opinion on. I think pro players are the best casters. They know they have the best knowledge of the game, and they know it
But
I
inside out.
it's
think
like what
I
is
think the
what's the scale for
Mhm.
best caster? Like
Yeah.
is it
okay.
spoon
This is
feeding you
my
things
take
or
on
is it
this real
giving
quick.
you deep dive, which
Well,
is what the pro
that
players would
is
be better at?
the
The good thing about esports is that it's multi-platformed, right?
Mhm.
There are going to be viewing parties on Twitch. There's going to be a main event casters. There's going to be the viewing parties, and then there's going to be players that are live streaming it and watching it with their communities. You're going to be able to get different levels of engagement and different levels of skill based on like what your regular viewing is. Like you don't need to have
All
you can
right.
have every level of it.
All right, wait here. I'm gonna send you guys a clip in the Discord chat or a YouTube video. Just like watch like the first 5 minutes. This is like one of the not the first 5 minutes, just like a couple of seconds of it. And this is 72 hours. He's a pro Fortnite player, and he hosted a DreamHack viewing party. And this shit was lit and funny.
Yeah, I mean like they I honestly
Like
think that
it's like a
like
whole
they should
spectacle.
be
He has
trying to
like
find these kids.
Well,
yeah,
they
he
have
has
more
like
freedom too.
yeah, he has like a suit and tie on, and he's just like having fun with it. But he's also explaining the game in a way that none of these casters can because they don't have the knowledge or the
Maybe it's
game
not that it's
experience.
not the knowledge. It's like they're not allowed to. I mean, like they're not allowed to go like fully go off like the deep end and say whatever raunchy shit they want to, because there's like the official stream. So like when we were talking about earlier, trying to bring
I'm
in a
not
new
even
audience, you can't
I'm
like
not even talking about like the raunchy. I'm talking about like when you watch Overwatch League and they shoot a diva bomb and they're like, yeah, if you shoot a diva bomb and you shoot it over the Rhine, like a basic. There's no context on why this player is doing that. Like you shoot the diva bomb over the Rhine shield to make the Rhine turn around so your Rhine can shatter.
then
There's none of that. It's
if
just
you
like.
want that, then you go watch Sideshow or a vast like viewing party
But I'm
streams.
saying for like newer players, they need that knowledge of, oh, so that's why he's shooting the diva bomb. Now you have an understanding of a play and a potential
They
team
do that in
dynamic.
Overwatch League, and they also have the ability to do replays, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're like, all right, let's get the replay, and then they explain over it because there's a million fucking things happening. They're more
Maybe.
focused
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
overall like
Yeah.
tempo of it
Yeah,
rather than
They
the
don't
individual
have
exactly.
that
replays.
downtime to go into the nitty gritties and explain like, oh, from this person's perspective, they did this
Yeah.
with this cooldown. Like they don't have the time for that because it's such a
Yeah, I'll
Yeah, you're
notice like
going
a
high-tempo
lot
on
of these
game.
live
companion streams.
commentary.
Yeah, a lot of these companion streams will just like miss the next three plays while they're back explaining this one thing that was really cool and interesting. But
Exactly.
that's why Overwatch League is good because they do like the death segment where they'll pick one thing to like really hone in on
Mhm.
because there's a lot of things that happen in a match, but you gotta stay on
I
point with the
love
actual pace.
I love right now. I think the perfect middle between both of these points are like fighting game announcers right now because it's very like
They're the best ones.
amateur
Dude,
They
hour.
are
It's
yo, bro,
very
fantastic.
that's
amateur
the
hour. They are amazing
fighting
at the
game
hype, and
community.
they're just
Fighting
fucking
game
trash
community
the
is the
whole
prime
thing.
example. Most of the casters in fighting game community are professional fighting game players.
It's mad funny when I'll like watch some After Effect on YouTube and like a Smash tournament or something, and there'll be like no commentator, and someone's like runs in and picks up the mic like, sorry, I was just finishing my pool game. Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just got
It's
eliminated on
hilarious.
the game that was off broadcast, and now I'm here.
But
Yeah, now I'm
that's like
back.
that's like proving my point. Like they play the games and they're able to explain the game all while I guess they have
It's not
That's
even
personalities
like the
just
also.
base
that. It's
requirement.
also
Yeah.
Like,
it's not the base requirement. It's being able to not only like they have the hype. They have the hype.
Yeah.
They're in there. They're fucking talking the play by play. And honestly, a fighting game is a lot easier to announce than something like Overwatch, where there's a
Yeah.
million things happening, where you're having like a 1v1
No,
fight on a
dude.
fighting game.
Nah, man. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens like in fighting games,
No,
like
not even
fuzzies and like
close.
there's so many
Okay,
terms
look
that
at
I've
the
heard in a fighting
even
game
just look
cast
at
that
the
I
button
don't even
inputs
know.
that you're seeing on Overwatch. There's 6 controllers on each side getting the
yeah,
button
the
inputs.
fact that it's 6v6 and 1v1, it's just
Yeah.
there's,
It's yeah, you
you
can
know,
focus on it.
it's
But it's
incomparable.
the
Like,
apple oranges.
style that is the
Yeah.
more important thing
Yeah,
to take
well,
away.
from my experience with the esports casting experience, there's either a caster who has the hype or a caster who has the knowledge, and
They
I
need
think
both.
that
You need both.
yeah, but I think that a pro player with a personality is the perfect blend of that.
that's what happens all
Yeah,
the
that's
time. Like
Yeah.
two
those
Overwatch
are the
League
kids
pros
that are gonna
retired to
pick, of
go get
course.
that caster
Yeah.
money this year.
No,
Yeah.
It
but
also
I think
takes time for these people to be pros, good enough to and then develop to say sentences
An
on
entire new
screen.
skill set.
And yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like these games
I
are
mean, yeah,
fairly new, so it's like there's not that lot of time to like develop the players and then transition.
but I think going forward they should be looking more for those pro players as opposed to
Yeah.
looking
of course.
outside for
We're not
This is
disagreeing
what we were
that.
talking.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I just don't think that like they need to be pro players. They can be people that really enjoy the game but have enough on-screen presence to carry a cast. Like you don't need to actually be able to compete competitively
Mhm.
to understand what's going on in the game. And
I
like
guess
that's what I think is going to bridge the gap between the community and what's going on screen. Is somebody that isn't particularly getting into the nitty-gritty like Steve was saying earlier, where they're going to get stuck in the minutia, or they're going to spend 20 minutes talking about one play and miss the next 5.
Yeah, that's almost better to like VOD reviews and stuff where they can like pause
Exactly.
it, take all the time they want to be like,
Mhm.
this is what this guy was thinking. Let's go over here and watch what he was doing at the same time. It's just like there's
but then
too much going on
but
to
then lending
nail it
to
all.
your second point with the individual streams,
Mhm.
there's also people who just want to see your favorite player's perspective.
Of
You don't
course,
want to hear the
like
caster.
and that's what's great about esports is that there's not just the super high level like ESP. You can only watch this shit on ESPN. You know,
Mhm.
like you can now like you can even see it now with ESPN's networking schedule. Now they have people that are talking about this stuff. They have like talk show radio where Twitch has already had that embedded from the beginning. And I think that's why it's so popular and why it's going to stay popular is because it has multiple levels of engagement. At the highest level where it's super polished professional is what we're talking about, where these casters need to be able to project to a large audience versus like somebody that's just doing like a VOD review or like a play by play like after the fact, and they have a niche audience that really enjoys their particular perspective. You have that whole spectrum, and that's what's great about esports.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of esports games don't have they don't offer that opportunity to watch individual players play. It's most of them like Fortnite's really the only game I know that
Well,
offers that.
you can if you
Like
had
that.
back when Overwatch was on Twitch, you could do that if you had the pass. You could
Yeah, the
watch
league pass.
anyone who's playing in the game. You could go just to their stream. You can have like 3 people's individual perspectives at any time. So it's,
Yeah,
it's
they
just a
need-
matter
yeah.
of getting the developers to integrate that and push for having a bigger support in their esports scene besides just supporting them financially, but giving
Or,
them
I
more
mean,
assets for the broadcast.
Even
Yeah,
not not even
exactly.
that, just like allowing them to stream.
But
is
like, dude, like, yeah, even like
a lot of
that's the
that.
first step, bare minimum. I feel like they need to get some production value into these broadcasts because they're never going to reach a broader audience.
Yeah,
Period.
and Darren,
They
and
need
like
to get
most
the
of your Fortnite ones are still over the internet outside of the few that are land events. Most of like the Overwatch League, like they are
Yeah.
LAN events, so it's very different. Like
Well, DreamHack
streaming.
was a LAN event, and
Yeah,
everyone's.
but that's one event.
But I'm saying these LAN events should have this opportunity because you're cutting off a portion of your audience who
But
doesn't
DreamHack
necessarily care about
also
caster.
didn't even have an official stream, so people were
Yeah,
forced to
which
do
is
these
but like
side
that's what I'm
viewing
saying.
parties.
That's true.
Main point takeaway: they need to put more production value or like put some production money into into streaming because that's where 90% of your audience is. Period. Like
Yeah, and that'll
no one's
that'll
going to these
capitalize
events.
on, like you were saying earlier, Blake, with the storylines behind these players. Like some people will be like, "Oh, I can watch this guy directly," and then you create that connection from watching them hit a crazy play or their reaction to something, and that'll give people more incentive to root for these.
Back to that real
What
quick though. Why do these people need to be like super celebrity personalities? Like how many players in the NBA are? Like they're
Yeah.
just that you follow them because they're really good, which is should be the
Mhm.
Yeah.
same thing in theory that and it's like you
I mean,
almost have more chances for them to do that with streams where you could like, oh, you can actually get to know this person by just following their stream and
yeah, I'm not saying they have to be a celebrity or a super personality. It's just
I think it's
not
helpful
everyone.
if they
It
are.
is, yeah,
Well,
it
that's what
100%
your
is helpful.
staying power is. Like
Yeah,
a lot of these industries, like regardless, like games come and go. Like it doesn't have the staying power that like a traditional sport
I
has,
don't
where you're
know.
going to be
These
playing
days
the
it
same.
seems like players come, games stay and players come and go because they get
yeah.
bumped out by younger talent, and like
Mhm.
the game gets patched so much that it's just
The
like, okay,
turnaround
that guy
is
who was
But I
good
think
is
insane.
no longer good.
I
Yeah,
think if you're a strong enough personality, you will endure, and I think that
yeah. I mean, I think
like
it's
the
better from a personal
monetization.
perspective to do that.
Mhm.
But I think like just like if you look at like team branding, right? Like I think that they're a lot more valuable to brands now, and you're gonna see a lot more like kids that have the talent to be able to be on camera and play the games, even if they're not the best, if they're comparable, like where they can like put them in a team. Like I think Overwatch would like we keep going back to Overwatch. Like Fortnite doesn't lend itself to it as much unless you're playing like duos or the team like the
Squads.
squads. It if they can't be carried by like star players that might not have as much personality, like you need to build a blend of this type of thing going into the future. And I think a lot of the money behind like esports is going towards those players that can have that on-screen presence because they can monetize them right now. A lot of my big problem with esports now is they don't know how to monetize. Period. And that's why you see coronavirus killing them because their big idea was to get people filling out arenas. Most of these kids don't want to go outside, and
Yeah, that's
you're not even
No.
and you don't have a dedicated stream for your
I
fucking
don't know if that's
tournament. Are
true
you?
though. Like that's a little too general because I think it's like these kids don't have a reason to go outside, so they're kind of giving them a reason to like this is a safe space where it's like a bunch of nerds that
I
that are nerding out about the same
Same
thing
thing.
you like to nerd out about. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
go. This is like one of the few social events I feel welcome to and like secure
yeah.
enough to go to
No,
because they're just
definitely
so
that as
deep that
well.
they
I'm just
won't.
saying, like comfort zone. Like why not hit them where they live? Like, what? How can you not have high production value with like good announcers and like what Jake was saying, what the Overwatch League used to have, where you can pay for a subscription to watch every single screen on there and really get like, because there are people that want that. You know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
how
I
do they
do
not
think live
have these
events
tools
need
implemented?
to. I think live events really do need to step it up for esports more than regular sports because it's like,
Hmm.
why would I? I'm going to an event to watch a screen,
Yeah.
but I could just sit here to watch a screen. So there really needs to
Exactly.
be some extra
Some like
cheddar on
some.
that, you know?
There's got to be a reason. That's
But
good. There's got
lending
to be a
lending
reason.
Mhm.
lending to your point, Blake, I think that esports came into it with the analogy of we're going to pack out these arena or the idea that they're going to pack out these arenas, and they're starting to realize that the power is with the player and people want to see their favorite players and watch that. So now
Well, that
they're
is a big thing they leverage where they're like, this team is staying after for a signing, come through, you know?
Hmm.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and that's what their monetization plan is.
Mhm.
It's to get people in the arena, sell autographs, sell merch, sell time
not
with
selling
players. Right?
autographs, they're selling
So
merch.
Merch. Yeah.
Autograph merch sells for more.
Mhm.
autograph merch.
Yeah, but it, it's free if you get it in person.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah,
gonna be like,
I mean,
all
hey,
right, Jimmy, all right, that'll be
yo,
50 bucks.
if
I'm
Chewbacca can
keeping your
charge
hat
for
if you
fucking
don't pay.
Yeah, that's a tier
R.I.P.
3 sub right
Chewbacca, but
there.
if yeah, but like if Chewbacca, R.I.P. Chewbacca can fucking charge for autographs, I think some of these fucking kids can charge for autographs at the event.
Yeah, but then you go into like your fan base
What a
largely
fucking
going to
dirtbag.
be it's going to be largely
Yeah.
kids. And now you're charging children to like
Hmm.
Also, like, these guys are not fucking celebrities, okay? I mean,
No.
they're D-grade celebrities. They probably aren't even thinking that I could charge for this autograph.
Yeah.
They're just
Mhm.
like, oh wow, someone cares enough to want me to write their name on their shitty
Yeah.
hat.
Yeah, and like even if like someone goes like, "Oh man, I'm gonna charge you for this autograph," that's gonna be on Twitch as like it's gonna get clipped, blah, blah, or like it's gonna get seen, and then their
You've
reputations,
been clipped.
yeah,
Yeah.
just go down the
You
shitter.
gotta know how to
Dude.
play the hate. You
Dude.
gotta know how to play the hate. I'm sorry, but like, there's ways to roll that shit out there and be like, and what? And what?
Yeah,
I
but
gotta
most
get
of these
paid
kids
out
will
here.
not be able to roll that. Most of them will just
Yeah,
take
I
the
mean,
The
like,
funny
no,
thing
STL.
is,
hey.
you can buy one online, like a autographed whatever, and like they can charge extra for that. But like if you do it in person, it becomes scummy. But if
That's
you
what
didn't
I'm
hunt them,
saying. I'm like,
if you don't want to
why
go through
isn't
the
it?
effort to hunt them down, you can buy it online for extra. But
I
it's
mean, like,
rewarding coming out and
personally,
supporting.
if I was one of them, I wouldn't for autographs. But like, some of these kids gotta eat. They're not gonna be good forever. They're
But
not gonna be
again,
16 forever.
again, like implementing the personal streaming incentives would alleviate that. Now these kids, like you said, they're not going to be 16 forever, and they're not going to be making this money. They have a chance to grow a stream. If they're streaming every event they're at, they're going to get some level of notoriety just from
That's
If
the
they're
like
overflow.
1% of all the kids.
if they're part of orgs, then I think the orgs need to put a lot of resources into getting these kids media trained to be able to do interviews,
Exactly.
be personable,
Mhm.
work the floors, get their name out as a brand, and then also help elevate the team's brand. It's like
Yeah.
that's something that
What
a
is it?
lot of them are
100
lacking.
Thieves.
Yeah, they're
100 Thieves.
killing
I
it
feel like
there.
is doing it right.
Yeah,
I think
They're
they're
a
really doing it right
lifestyle.
with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about the people that they're producing, but like, like them investing in the production quality and the merch that is high quality. Like, then they're gonna attract talent that's already there, and then they're just gonna be able to give them the extra boost. Like, that's like
Well,
where these companies should be right now.
100 Thieves is more on the. I could be wrong. From what I understand, they've been more on the content creator end and picking up high-end
Yeah.
content creators and like Twitch streamers. So these people are already successful in that media outlet. They have a successful Twitch stream. You
Yeah,
know.
and then they're
So
Yeah.
teaching them how to monetize and
yeah.
how to grow it,
Mhm.
like on a professional level.
But
And I think
again,
that
they
that's what the Overwatch League, when they're charging how much to join the league, and they don't have any kind of creator tools for like content creation, that only helps them, right?
yeah.
As like as a league, like, you
Well,
need
they have
these
a very
content creators.
hands-off approach to it, where they want the
Mhm.
individual orgs and teams and like be like, "Yo, make it yourself." Like,
Yeah.
like
Well,
we're putting you on
the
the
deep end.
screen. You
Yeah,
do the rest.
yeah.
figure out how to swim.
I know,
But I think
but
that's the wrong way to go about
I
it.
think Overwatch League should take a nod from esports orgs like Team Liquid. I know they offer streaming incentives to their pro players, so it's like you have your base pro player contract, but if you stream to this many viewers in a month, or you have this many subscribers, just as an example, you get a bonus or some kind of incentive. I think they need to incentivize these kids to want to grow that stream and that platform, because it'll only help their brand as a whole.
Yeah, I
It's
mean
a
that
whole
too,
bunch
but
of
I was
little
more
cogs.
talking about from a spectator's perspective. Like,
Yeah, but
the
all
reason
these
Twitch
things add up.
monopolizes esports is because they've built out most of this content. Most of the content is on Twitch. So why would you go anywhere else? And that's the
But
problem with ESPN. That's the problem with like how Overwatch League doesn't know how to monetize any of it, is because they didn't control any of the content. Period.
yeah, but that's like it fixes all these problems. The disconnect with the viewers, people not understanding. It all of this can be alleviated by giving these kids the outlet and incentivizing them to create the content that needs to be created.
I mean, why aren't they incentivized just to do it themselves? Like,
Yeah, that's what
it's
I'm saying.
Because
Like,
like
they're the
all their
ones that are making
profit.
the money, and
you
I'm
want
cool
do
with
you
that.
want to
Like,
see
let them make their money.
Jeff Kaplan with the advanced tutorial on how
I
to
don't want to see
Some
Jeff
people,
Kaplan with
yeah,
it, but like,
some
Jeff
people do want to
Kaplan
see
should be
that.
paying somebody to do it.
Yeah.
Period.
Mm.
Somebody should get that job right now because he needs
This is
somebody
definitely
to
a
fill that
topic
position.
that we
Yeah,
will
this
jump
is
into
this is
another
yeah,
time.
this
Like
is
we've
king.
already done, but we will definitely be all about that. All right, so we're about like an hour. Any final thoughts on this Corona and Lime season?
Yeah, coronavirus shouldn't be hurting esports, but it is because of ineptitude. That's
Yeah.
my main point.
Yeah.
We don't know. I think the next
Yeah.
month is going to be super telling how they all transitioned back to online and ways they not just like survive but thrive. You know.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope they do because
I
TM.
I
we're all
I
banking on that. Yeah,
I agree with Blake to some extent. I think at first we're gonna be shitting the bed and not realizing what's going
I mean,
on,
that is
and
the esports
that
classic.
they're
Yeah.
gonna
The
the
the thing
esports
they're
class,
best at is shitting the
they're
bed.
gonna shit the bed, and then someone's gonna do something, and they're gonna be like, oh shit, that's actually that's what we need to be doing. And then everyone's gonna jump on the bandwagon, and it's gonna, in the long run, I think it's gonna be on the up and up.
I think the longer this goes on, the more they'll be like able to figure it out. I think
Mhm.
if this is squashed in a month, they'll be like, "Oh wow, we really should have used that month better." But I think they were
Yeah.
just like,
Mhm.
"Let's."
Mhm.
They're gonna be like, a lot of esports companies or gaming companies in general have a very like wait and see attitude. So I think they're gonna kind of
Yeah.
stick to that.
That
I think it's
that's
gonna take more people getting into the positions of power within these orgs and like the gaming companies that have grown up
it's
with Twitch, not just like, oh, they're like maybe in their 30s and they use Twitch. Like no, they've come up with Twitch in like this fast moving
yeah.
media space.
Yeah. All the innovators within the space will do well. It's now is a prime opportunity to make new content, branch out, and capitalize on people not having anything to no content to consume.
I'm just
There's a lot
hoping
more
that it.
now.
I just hope that the institutions leverage this position that
Yeah,
they're in
exactly.
now,
They need to
so that they can grow to a larger market, so that everybody's making more money. And unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I think content as a whole is like should be just fucking cooking up ideas right now
Mm.
because
yeah.
these people are locked in their homes. Like a
Captive
lot of people no
audience.
Yeah.
jobs to go to. Like yeah,
Mhm.
captive audience. Let's see what you got. But I think they're gonna drop the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. All right,
All
guys.
right,
Well,
And speaking
so
of not dropping the sign up for Infamy Fantasy, we have a Duos FNCS tournament going throughout all of the FNCS. Enter for your chance to win 2,500
infamy.gg, get on that.
2,500 V-Bucks at infamy.gg. Shameless plug.
Cool.
Shameless
I will
plug.
also sign something for free for you.
You
Yes.
know, we're all about shameless plugs because we will shamelessly plug whatever the winner wants.
Very true.
Yeah.
That is not illegal.
Yes. See, yeah, we will. You provide the content and we'll share it. You know, this is how the industry works, and what everyone else needs to be doing.
Also, hit us up on Discord so that we can, you guys can vote on what we should call our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
and yell at us for what game we should add instead of Fortnite. We love that. We're
Yeah.
gonna pull a collection of your screams into the void of what game we should be doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Discord
And
for that.